The next thing we're going to talk about is how to save data to a file within an Android application. So saving user data is something that's very useful in any Android app, and we want to, in this app, be able to save our users' notes to display back to them later. So to save to a file within an Android app, it's very straightforward. We're only going to need to do two things. So we need to create a file output stream object. This should be familiar from Java. We'll call it FOS, or file output stream. And we need to create a file name. So we're just going to create string file name equals to file name. Nothing fancy. And it's yelling me because that's not actually a string. So down here in our onCreate method, we need to actually create this file. That's pretty simple. We're just going to do FOS is equal to open file output, and we're going to give it a file name and a mode. So we want to be able to append to our files, so we're going to say context.mode append. What this is going to do is if this file called file name doesn't exist, it's going to make it so we can use it later in our program. And if it does, it's just going to open it. So now it's yelling at us because we did not check for the file not found exception. So we're just going to put this inside of a try, like so, and we're going to catch file not found exception e. Let's let that be a lowercase e, and we will just e.print we forgot brackets, e.print stack trace, like so. And beyond that, we just need to close our file. And it's actually yelling us it again because there's a different error that you need to catch when closing files, so we're just going to add it. It's just an IO exception, e, and e.print stack trace. So what we've done here is inside of our onCreate method, we have created a file if it doesn't exist, and then closed it. So this is just going to be a local file that we can reference within our program. So that's what we're going to do down here. Within our onClick method, we're actually just going to take this code and copy it. So when the user hits submit, we want to output to them what they have submitted, but we also want to save that to a file. So down here, we're just going to paste this code. And in between here, we are just going to write what the user has put. So we have this string called input. We're simply just going to put fos.write and then input, which is the text that the user inputted. Now there's a problem here because it's expecting a byte array. Well, that's easy. We can just do get bytes. So every time the user clicks submit, it's going to save their note into a file that we can access later. Now it would be nice if we can give the user a date associated with when they submitted a note, which we can do. This will be familiar to those in Java, just a simple date format. We'll call it s equals new simple date format, and we'll just say for them the day, the month, and the year. So now we can, and we'll need to create today's date, because that's what we want to give the user. So we'll say string date is equal to s.format and then new date. So that'll put today's date into this object and saying, I don't know what date is, so we all enter to import it. We'll do the java.util one. So now down here, when we're writing the file, we don't want to just write their input. We want to put the date in front of it. So we do a little bit of string manipulation, and we say date plus a colon and a space plus input. So now whenever the user hits submit, it's going to write the date and then their note to a file that we can access later.